we're going to see is the highly regulated institutions and DeFi community merge into a single Internet of Contracts. I think that is well underway in 2024, but what I see in 2025 is that we're going to go very far beyond what has happened so far. The regulatory environment in the US is massively going to accelerate the adoption of blockchain technology. It's something that very clearly is now aligned with our industry's goals of creating a highly transparent, highly interoperable, global Internet of Contracts. This is really the only place that I could see our industry going now, is that it is the way that financial transactions now occur both in the US economy, outside the US economy, and globally. At the end of the day, I think what the Chainlink community needs to really get good at in the coming years is working with the existing systems, the existing standards, the existing legal system, so that it can be defining how to technically implement this new global financial system. Technically implement this new global financial system.
This absolutely can be a huge game changer on so many levels. Look, Bitcoiners were a little disappointed that the executive order didn't outright call for a Bitcoin strategic reserve. However, this is definitely a step in the right direction. It calls for a national digital asset stockpile to be maintained by assets that the US government already has. Now, keep in mind that the US government actually is one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin. It has over 200,000 Bitcoin that it has seized from illicit activities. So we have this working group led by David Sachs that's going to look at the feasibility of maintaining this digital asset stockpile, which will predominantly be a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And they're supposed to give an order about that, a report to the president about that in 180 days. Now, remember that President Trump did make a promise at Nashville in 2024 that he will make a Bitcoin strategic reserve similar to a gold and oil.
The bond market is the best reflection of what's going on in the world. It is the barometer for every politician, for every central bank. It really informs us every day where the mood of the global economy. And that I believe the bond market is indicating that inflation may be higher than we think. The genie may be coming out of the bottle. And I look at this in so many different ways that if you just think about AI for a minute, in the United States right now, data centers represent about 50 gigawatts of power. And in the United States, we're estimating alone, data centers will represent and need 300 gigawatts of power in the next 5 years to meet the needs. And we're talking about, if you expand that throughout the world, this is my optimism about growth, but at the same time, we actually are going to have labor shortages, which is going to be driving up wages. I think we're going to see more persistent wages, and that may be a good outcome, but it's going to be an inflationary outcome. We're going to have material shortages with all this building out. And so I think we are somewhat complacent that inflation can hit us again. But I would also say, if you look at where the bond market was even a year and a half ago, when we were experiencing very elevated inflation, we had a very inverted yield curve. The short rates were higher than the long rates. What we are seeing now is the normalizing of the yield curve, but I also believe we're going to have a much more steeper yield curve. And that's a function of forward inflation expectations. And so one of my fears is, because of this complacency, and I have not even said the most ugly word that's facing economies, that's called the deficits and the debt of so many countries. When you think about the amount of capital that we're going to need to be financing all these amazing transformations, we have growing deficits worldwide. The cost of financing those deficits are going to go up. I think the yield curve is showing you that.
Yep. Yeah.
And so I've said repeatedly here in Davos, I could see a scenario. I'm not calling for it, but I can see a scenario where we have a 5.5% 10-year.
Yeah. And really quickly, do you think the Fed's done cutting rates this year?
No, they still have room to cut. That will create a more steepening of the yield curve. So I think the next few months of data and information will identify it. I would say to you the economy is very strong. It was very strong in the fourth quarter, and the evidence that we are hearing from different corporations that business is strong already in the first quarter. And so we have, and you see that in the labor statistics now. So they may pause for another period of time, and they may ease a little bit. I'm not worried about the short-term moves, but over the next year, if all this materializes, could they revert and go back up? Possibly.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And some of our top projects in crypto founders are Ukrainian and Russian. But we have Sergey Nazarov on the new global financial system is about to be underway. And the big banks and big corporations are going to implement all this technology, blockchain, digital assets, and I always told you that DeFi is definitely the new banking. And you know how I do. I bring it to you from the horse's mouth. You don't get any conspiracy theories on this channel. It's only whether you want to accept the truth. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And another thing I told you is that governments don't pay for Bitcoin. They get their Bitcoin for free. And Trump didn't do a Bitcoin reserve, but we already have a stockpile, just like a lot of governments across the globe. Now we have Larry Fink on the bond market and says that yield rates could move higher, but remember, this is a controlled demolition. They want to destroy this legacy market so the fourth industrial revolution can rise. And it was very strange that Jerome Powell wasn't there. Basically, Larry Fink took his place. And he talked about energy, all the build out, and we know what he's talking about, and that's this new digital economy. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have China buying up to go right along with the other central banks. Remember, guys, there's nothing wrong to diversify. Don't let anyone tell you that Bitcoin is better than gold. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we're witnessing the fall of the world reserve currency. We're going to a level playing field so the robots, algorithms, and drones can rise. And we know the sheep are going inside the metaverse and getting that free money downloaded to their wallet. But little do they know, that money is programmable, telling you what, when, how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
China actually restarted its purchases of gold for its central bank in December, obviously right after the election. That's been a boost to gold prices. What are the other factors that could be an influence on gold prices, specifically those Trump tariff policies and trade policies?
So the tariff policies have really caused central banks to continue to purchase gold. We're seeing many central banks out there boosting those reserves. And what it's doing is it's helping alleviate some of the pressure, because you look at a lot of the foreign currencies, they've declined specifically against the US dollar. Now, the high tariff, the high inflation possibly from tariffs could really throw a wrench in the global economy, and specifically the US economy. At the same time, if he does a mass deportation, you could see the labor market becomes slightly strained, and what happens is growth in the United States will start to stall out. So what a lot of traders are positioning for is more of a stagflationary environment down the road in the U.S. You lose the unskilled, labor worker. You're going to have to raise wages, and then that's how that environment is created.
So Jensen Huang, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, I mean, this is the year. They're saying now, the humanoid robots, right? The year of physical robots powered by AI. I want to share with the audience, this is from Citi, folks. And these are the different sort of robots and just how quickly the growth is going to be. And this is how quickly they're going to be ingrained in your life, like it or not. Autonomous vehicles, that's going to grow by leaps and bounds, 17%. Domestic cleaning robots, some of you probably need that. I do, I'm not going to lie. Humanoids, drones, carrying robots like the guy needed on that spaceship, commercial cleaning robots, food, grocery delivery bots, food services bot. What do you make of this? I mean, is this accurate in your mind? Do you think it's going to come on this quickly?
I do, Charles, and actually out of this chart, I think the humanoid robots are the most interesting opportunity, as well as the autonomous vehicles. So if I had to zoom in on two categories, I think those would be the two. And Jensen highlighted during CES basically saying that humanoid robots, autonomous driving, and agentic is another category, which are robots that will work on your computer side by side by you. All three are going to be very important going forward.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box, provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told his members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will. During that auction that we saw a little bit before, the attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction; it was absolutely lousy. And you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.